Hundreds of homes affected by flooding in Thailand's northern provinces. Thai authorities report that flooding in 6 northern provinces has damaged homes and affected hundreds of families. Thailand's Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation reported flooding in the provinces of Phrae, Lampang, Nan, Uttaradit, Phayao and Nakhonratchasima from May 15 to 19, 2022. In total, nearly 300 households were affected. Some of the worst flooding occurred in Ngao and Muang Pan districts of Lampang province. Roads, bridges and houses were affected. At least 216 households were affected. However, there were no reports of casualties, deaths or evacuations. Other areas affected include Na Noi district in Nan province, and Ta Pla and Nam Pat districts in Uttaradit province. Heavy rains were also reported in parts of the capital Bangkok. A weather station in Bang Na in the south of the city recorded 125 mm of rain in 24 hours. Cyclone Yaquecan hits Uruguay and Brazil. The passage of the cyclone was accompanied by heavy rain and wind gusts up to 28 meters sec. 200,000 inhabitants were left without electricity and many trees were fallen. Homeless people of the country had the hardest time. Some had nowhere to hide from the elements. There were victims. In São Paulo, a temporary shelter was set up at a metro station, with food and blankets distributed. Those who took refuge in the shelter have everything they need. In the liquidation of the consequences of the elements participate utilities. An orange level of weather danger was declared in the southeast of the country, and yellow in the south, with snowstorms coming. Earlier, Yaquecan, past Uruguay, seafoam went to the embankments and reached the road, which happens when there is a strong wind, a lot of seaweed and strong waves. Heavy hail in the Alps. The summer heat in Western Europe has arrived, but in some regions the cloudless weather was replaced by thunderstorms and heavy rainfall. Large hailstorms fell in the Alps, and heavy rainfall caused localized flooding. Severe storms struck northern Italy as well as the French Préalpes. Heavy hail hit the Trentino Alto Adige and Veneto regions. In the Non Valley, the ground was covered with a thick layer of ice. In the city of Trento, heavy rainfall caused flooding of streets and roads. Other northern regions, Piedmont and Lombardy, experienced similar weather conditions. Thunderstorm rains caused heavy damage in France as well, particularly in the eastern regions on the border with Switzerland. Heavy rains have caused landslides and flooding in some regions of Sri Lanka. The National Disaster Management Center has set a high level of meteorological danger on the island. The western and southern provinces of the island state were the most affected. The districts of Galle, Kalutara, Matara and Ratnapura, popular among tourists, received more than 100 mm of rainfall in less than 48 hours. Unceasing thunderstorm rains are accompanied by strong winds with gusts up to 12 meters sec. More than 2,000 people have been evacuated in the affected areas. About 100 buildings were destroyed and local roads flooded. Since the beginning of May, Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, has experienced several dust storms. Another cloud of dust covered the city on May 19. Because of the dense cloud, it was impossible to see the famous buildings of the capital from a few hundred meters away. Buildings and cars are covered with dust and sand, and residents are trying to prevent it from getting into their homes. Drivers are warned of the need to slow down when driving on city highways. The dusting is accompanied by 40-degree heat. No flight cancellations or delays have been reported. The kingdom's meteorological center predicts the dust will spread westward and cover the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. Schools and government offices closed in Tehran due to a severe dust storm. According to city authorities, higher educational institutions also suspended their work for one day. About 5,000 people sought medical help. Local authorities are urging residents not to leave their homes. According to local media reports, the air quality in the Iranian capital is very poor now. Note that this is the third strong sandstorm in Iran since mid-April. NASA has confirmed that the fiery object that swept over the southern United States last month was a meteorite. The space body broke into the atmosphere at a speed of about 60,000 km per hour and exploded near the borders of Louisiana and Mississippi. Many residents of these states, as well as Arkansas, saw with their own eyes the uninvited guest and heard a loud popping sound. According to experts, the energy release was equivalent to 3 tons of TNT when the meteor destroyed. NASA said that in the future they would not deal with potential meteorites, and all those interested in such issues from now on, let them turn to a specialized website of the University of Washington. Agency representatives explained that the NASA mission is to protect astronauts and spacecraft from unwanted objects, but not to search for the latter on the surface of the Earth. Citizens were asked not to send more pictures of meteorite fragments. A chasm opened up in China and a prehistoric mysterious forest was found in it. A huge sinkhole was observed in the southern region of China, in the territory of Guangxi Zhuang Ar. At its bottom is well-preserved wild forest, in which will now begin the search for species unknown to science. The length of the formation is 306 meters, the width of the hole is almost half, and the depth exceeds 190 meters. The volume of the discovered cavity reaches more than 5 million cubic meters. The trees below reach a height of 40 meters. According to scientists, in this forest there are great chances to discover flora, which was previously unknown to specialists. The find is not entirely unexpected, since the landscape in this region is characterized by the presence of old and the emergence of new such sinkholes. It was the karst formations that led to the inclusion of Guangxi on the UNESCO World Heritage List.